And here's the thing, Tara, plenty of Republicans like Nikki Haley have grown their families through IVF. That includes former VP Mike Pence, who said last year that IVF needs to be protected. And he's one of the most vehement proponents of abortion restrictions. Have Republicans backed themselves into a corner with this? What went through my mind when I was hearing the interview Ali did yesterday was Republicans, frankly, on the campaign trail right now have had 50 years to think about what they're going to say about abortion. Some of them handle it better than others, but they've had 50 years to think about it, right? Here, should you just be able to say what is true to what you believe? What are you expecting now from Republicans who get asked about this, Tara?
This issue is kryptonite for Republicans and politically, and they know it. It's the dog that caught the car, as you said. It's been 50 years leading up to this moment, and I don't think anyone on the Republican side really thought that they would be in this position where Dobbs would be the new law of the land and Roe was overturned, and now we're talking about IVF. And this was something that people warned about, that this would be, it was starting with Dobbs, that it would move to more and more restrictions on women, reproductive rights, and what women can do with their bodies. And at this point right now, I can tell you that in swing states, this issue is something that Republicans do not want to talk about. You're talking about states like Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, where the constituency there is over 60% pro-choice. You look at a state like Wisconsin, where you have hundreds of thousands of women who deal with infertility. 6 million women in this country deal with infertility. 1 in 8 couples deal with infertility. This is a huge issue for a lot of people trying to have families in this country. And now it's another example of Republicans interfering in these private decisions. If Democrats were smart, they would use this as a freedom issue. That's something that Republicans used to run on all the time, the freedom of the individual choice. And now you're moving into an area where you're getting into people making decisions about their families. Republicans recognize that this is politically difficult for them. When you have 3 Republican governors that came out immediately, Sununu, Lee in Tennessee, and there was a third one, Kemp in Georgia, another important state. They all came out right away in support of IVF, recognizing the importance of this, because not only does this impact women, but it also impacts men who are trying to have families when they're dealing with infertility with their wives. So the last thing Republicans want to talk about is this issue. And I think you're going to see them trying to skirt around it and not give a direct answer the way Nikki Haley has. She's trying to take both sides. You can't have it both ways. They talk about you want to be pro-life, but then they're stopping people from the ability to have families who struggle with these difficulties, and it's scientifically proven to be helpful. So I think Republicans, this is the last thing that they want. But we've seen what their agenda is. And if this is going to go, starting with Alabama, how many other states are going to cascade and go this route with it? They didn't think it would happen with abortion, and now it's happening with IVF.
Well, we just heard from the Vice President, Kamala Harris. Of course, she's been on the forefront of the administration's messaging on abortion, which was so powerful for them in 2022. Here's what she had to say about the Alabama ruling literally just minutes ago.
Putting access to IVF at risk. Think about that. Individuals, couples who want to start a family are now being deprived of access to what can help them start a family. So on the one hand, the proponents are saying that an individual doesn't have a right to end an unwanted pregnancy. And on the other hand, the individual does not have a right to start a family.
There is, Tara. So this is, I think, part of the complexity for a lot of Republicans who may be against abortion. This is a case where people want to have children. Right. They want to build or grow a family. They are trying to bring new life into the world, right? It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, which is it? They can't have both sides of this issue. And it's just another example of the absolute extreme position that Republicans have backed themselves into a corner on, where they've allowed the extremists on this issue in the Republican Party to dominate. And like I said, it's politically perilous for them. And if women weren't already inspired to go out and vote because our rights are directly under threat here, this is another example of where your vote matters and who you put in office matters. And I think that Republicans are going to rue the day that they decided to go after women and their rights, particularly on this issue.